Hello everybody, McFluffy Stuff here, and today I would like to bring to you our Sultai Walkers list. I will start off by saying, for any of you that have seen us do our MTG Arena Twitch streams, Sultai lists traditionally run very bad for us. In 90% of our games, we get mana screwed, 5% of our games we get flooded, and the other 5% of our games actually run smoothly. So I had pretty much given up on Sultai lists last format. Now with War of the Spark out, we decided to try it again, and I believe I have found a brew that has actually ran well for us, and is actually a very suitable deck for best of 1 and best of 3. I would like to start by saying, if you like the deck, please leave a like on the video, subscribe down below if there's any deck cards you would change, and subscribe to the channel to get notified when we upload more MTG Arena deck decks. With that out of the way, let's get into it. So starting off here, we have 4 Duress, 4 Growth Chamber Guardian, 4 Merfolk Branchwalker, 2 Find Finality, 1 Davriel Rogue Shadow Mage, 4 Jade Light Ranger, 1 Thrashing Baronodon, 2 Veraska's Contempt, 1 Hostage Taker, 1 Karn, Scion of Urza, 1 Nissa, Who Shakes the World, 2 Vivian Reed, 1 Liliana, Dreadhorde General, 1 Carnage Tyrant, 1 Ugin, 4 Hydrate Krasis, and then for your mana base we have 5 Forests, 3 Drowned Catacomb, 4 Watery Grave, 4 Overgrown Tomb, 4 Woodland Cemetery, 4 Breeding Pool, and 2 Blast Zones. For the main board here, I want to comment on a couple of cards. One is the 4 Duress. We are playing blue. We could main Thought Erasers. I like Duress right now because it gets under most decks, so being able to Duress turn 1 to get their Thought Eraser out of their hand is great. Also, every deck has a ton of Planeswalkers right now, or has that feeling of a ton of Planeswalkers. I actually think Duress could almost be the stronger of the hand hate cards because most times it can be a turn 1 play. We have the Rogue Shadow Mage as a one of. I'm not really sure how much I've loved this card so far, but I will say at 3 mana being able to at least discard 3 cards out of their hand is fantastic. The extra 2 damage that it can deal is okay here and there. I haven't had it happen too often, but versus control decks, 3 cards out of their hand is always a help. The one of Thrashing Brontodon, right now this format is full of enchantments you have to hit. This card is good versus burn as well. The stats are solid. Um, you could potentially take it out for something like a Hostage Taker or another Liliana Dreadhorde General if you would like. I like to at least have one though. The one of Hostage Taker right now, Hydrate Krasis is running around like crazy. Uh, I know I've said that a lot in my videos, but he's going to continue to see play until he rotates out. Now because we are more of a walkers list, the Karn is there to help you get continual advantage. I love Karn. That's enough said. Nissa Who Shakes the World. You have your 5 forests, so your 5 forests provide you extra mana. That is great. The being able to put a 1 or 3 1/1s on a land is also good in a grind game. Giving you vigilance is also great. The haste, even better. The one of Liliana's Dreadhorde General, I really think this should be 2. Um, what she offers for your deck is a continual creature engine that potentially leads to a draw engine. The -4 to come into play and sack 2 guys immediately can sometimes just seal up games. I've never got her ultimate off, but I feel like if you do, you just win. Carnage Tyrant, I want to say maybe even 2 in the main could be good just because you want to be able to beat control decks. Forcing them to have to blow a Kaya's Wrath on one creature always feels bad for them. Speaking that you should have the ability to continually kind of play creatures and go wide. We do only have the 1 in the main because we have the 2 finds in the deck, so being able to get it back after it does die for some reason is always good. I like Ugin just because He's a draw engine, he's a continual creature engine, and being able to pretty much destroy any non-land permanent for -3 is fantastic. Really nothing I need to say about Hydroid Krasis. So now we're going to look at the board here. We got 2 Disdainful Stroke, 3 Cast Down, 3 Karul Harpooner, 3 Wild Growth Walker, 2 Thrashing Bronzodon, 1 Hostage Taker, and 1 Carnage Tyrant. The Carnage Tyrant is absolutely in there for control matchups. Esper is still a deck. Grixis is gaining some steam. I'm sure we'll see some other variations of control as time goes on. I'm sure Sultai control as well. So I just like having at least 2 Carnage Tyrant in this deck. Hostage Taker is good for other mid-range decks. As I said earlier, deals with things like Hydroid Krasis, so being able to get those off board is great. The 2 Thrashing Bronodon and the 3 Wild Growth Walkers are actually in here for your burn matchups. The 4 Booty, they can't just burn it outright with a Lightning Strike. And the Wild Growth Walker, the life gain is huge. If it gets a 1/1 counter, even once, it can be a super big headache for burn because you've gained 3 life. Now they have to throw either 2 burn spells out it or attack and burn spell into it, which never feels good for them. We got the 3 Karul Harpooners. Thief of Sanity is still a good card. This takes care of it. With 1 creature in your graveyard, this deals with the flip Nicol Bolas, which, as I've said in some of my other videos, I really think Grixis Bolas is going to be a deck. For people who don't know what Grixis Bolas is, though I've said it before, it's basically Grixis control with a ton of Nicol Bolas. The premier creature for that deck is 4 of the flip Bolas from M19. Being able to punch those down feels good. Even sometimes your Harpooner can kind of get out of control late in the game and it can punch things down like a Hydroid Krasis. So don't sleep on Karul Harpooner. I think the card's great. 3 Cast Down is just sort of the go-to kill spell right now in Standard. I think it still is going forward. I really wouldn't change that. And then these 2 Disdainful Strokes. Honestly, you could play 3 of these if you wanted to. I think 2 is the magic number for this deck because you have Hand Hate and other options in the 60. With that said, any changes that I would make to this deck? I think if you really wanted to cut the duresses for Thought Erasers, you could. I just like the duress coming down on turn 1, personally. You could maybe go for another Shadow Mage if you're seeing a ton of control, just because this is Control's nightmare. Normally it feels bad when it comes down on turn 3, especially if you're on the play. You play this, you eat a card, because by then they're going to Vraska's Contempt it with only 1 counter on it, which feels stupid for them, so this card can be pretty good. You could cut the Thrashing Bronodon and potentially move the Hostage Taker from the board into the main. Hostage Taker is a really good card right now. There are a ton of creature-based decks. I do like the card, I just don't love the card personally. You could cut the Karn as well for something like another Liliana. I just like Karn because being able to continually get the free card every turn is always good. I haven't actually got to use Nissa a ton in this deck, and she might not actually work well if you test it. So if you do test it and you found the Nissa to be lackluster, please comment down below. Or maybe if you liked it a lot, let me know and maybe it's worth adding another one. So with that said, that was our Sultai Walkers list. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked it. Comment down below if there's any questions or changes you'd make to the deck. And feel free to subscribe to the channel to get notified when we upload another MTG Arena deck tech. With that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.